There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat-panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
I'm alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Driver, start your engine!
And as you can see, we are presently underway here for the Advanced Auto Parts 1 to 56 of Phoenix Raceway. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, a bit late to the show, lost track of time, but we are here and now we are 100% ready to go and ready to see if we can get the rest of this race underway. And you already see it's been a solid race so far, 16 laps in. My name is Noel Brempo. I'll be bringing you all the action from here on out, from start to finish, with Rob Melnick down behind the cameras for tonight's race. So far, there have been no lead changes on the day. Adrian Watts leads this race from Chris Severa. Powell brings up third place with Chris Johnson down at fourth. Gary Adamson is fifth with Jay Hone in sixth. Joshua O'Connor seventh. Frank Flores and Paul Regni round on the rest of your 9-car field here from the brand new Phoenix Raceway tonight. And as I have been told, it has been some solid racing so far tonight, just like we saw on Thursday night, and I am anticipating a solid race as well here throughout the remaining 150 or so laps from this race. Jay Hone presently being put under fire from Joshua O'Connor in the number 59 Ford Mustang. Out of having that look through 1 and 2, opted against it though. That's going to put Jay Hone potentially under fire here through 3 and 4. It's a crossover onto lap number 18. O'Connor though not able to get the best drive as he could out of turn number 4, which could mean he could have to look around the outside line of 1 and 2, which is exactly what O'Connor is going to attempt to do. Has the run on Jay Hone, and how about that for a drive out of turn number 2, and O'Connor going to get that pass done up into turn number 3. Hone still working the bottom side though, and Jay Hone looks like he'll potentially be able to hold on to that position for the time being. You've got O'Connor up top, and he'll continue to fight that outside line around Jay Hone. We saw this in the Thursday race. You can't really run that bottom side too much throughout this race, or you could find yourself slipping further back, and that's what Jay Hone is having to experience here at the moment. But much deeper drive into the corner from Jay Hone gives the advantage back to O'Connor's. He's going to try to go for the over-under, but Hone able to just perfectly execute the defense off of turn number 4 to hold on to P6. And up front, we're going to have that swap for the race lead as Adrian Watts under fire from Severa. Severa way down, almost to the pit wall, trying to get past the 08 of Adrian Watts, and Severa will pick up the lead. Here comes Watts, though, trying for the crossover, but just can't carry the momentum out of turn number 2. It'll go to advantage Chris Severa in the number 62 Ford Mustang, and see the battles picking up elsewhere throughout the track. Watts continuing to try to work the outside line on turn number 4. Also, just behind these guys, you've got Kenny Powell under fire from Chris Johnson's number 48. The battle for third place. It's also among one of the closest gaps you got on the course at the moment, with Gary Adamson, the Monster Energy number 36, trying to work his way further up into a top 5 position. Johnson taking a bit of a tighter line than Kenny Powell, that time by through 3 and 4, but he's going to push a little bit further up, get a bit aggressive on the throttle pedal as the 48 car tries to carry some kind of momentum around from Kenny Powell's number 24. Already you can hear that 24 car starting to kind of clutch and coast to get that car to rotate just a little bit more mid-corner. Watch the outside wall for both Gas and Go Racing drivers. Both drivers having to kind of scramble a little bit to avoid glancing off of that high side wall out of turn number 2. Johnson is going to get set to continue to run down Kenny Powell for that third and final podium position. And of course, stages, as always, going to be a huge factor in how tonight's race could play out. You got stage 1 at the end of lap number 40. Stage 2 comes at the end of 85. And of course, as always, fuel not going to be very present until that third and final stage. Now, in Thursday's race, we thought the fuel battle could potentially play on out big time. There was an early caution at stage 3, which allowed the battle to potentially go straight to the end of the race. You had guys like Chris Johnson that were trying to make it and weren't quite able to for the number 48 car. They had to come on in before the end of the race, so looks like fuel will still be an ever-present factor throughout the remainder of this race. Of course, stages 1 and 2 not going to play too much of a factor, and it's only going to be that third and final stage for the last 66 or so laps when you're going to have to worry about that with the estimated 59 laps, give or take 1 or 2 on that fuel run. So far, Chris Vera gets set to potentially stretch his lead out already, extending that gap out to about 0.8 of a second now, trying to make it 9. And so far, Severa's been doing a solid job here on just trying to run his own race, kind of settle into his own little rhythm here. You don't have a lot of pressure behind you. You certainly have no pressure up in front. So all you really have to do is just kind of sit back, and you can take it nice and easy throughout the duration of the race and the remainder of the stage, and you should come away with a solid stage 1 victory, as that gap going to extend now to over 1 second. You've also, don't forget, got that battle on for 7th and 8th between Jay Hone and Paul Regney. Hone has kind of lost a bit of time back up to Joshua O'Connor, a significant amount of it, in fact. And Jay Hone, whoa, real sideways out of turn number 2, having to wrestle that car back up to the line by the outside wall. So Jay Hone not feeling very confident in the PPG Ford Mustang, losing a bit of time. Back to Paul Regney's machine. So we'll see what Jay Hone could potentially mount here on a Paul Regney. If that 39 car can try to get a solid charge up, and if Jay Hone continues to make these crucial mistakes, he could potentially find himself with a bit of a run here coming on up throughout the remainder here of stage number 1, with about 12 laps left to go on this opening stage. Hone washing wide again through 3 and 4, having to take a much wider line, and that is definitely kind of compromising and losing him time. Regney closing in a hurry, and no doubt Paul Regney and that Toyota Camry are going to be looking anxious to get back past Jay Hone at the number 38. It's a bit of it's not a surprise, to be honest, when you look at how far Jay Hone has slipped back so far from the start of this race. 3rd place down to 7th. Joshua O'Connor, who started 2nd, he's down to 6th. And then, of course, you got Chris Severa. Didn't set a qualifying lap, but he finds himself out well into the lead of this race now. So a lot of movers and shakers so far. Unlike what we're used to seeing in races like this one, there have been nobody's sitting around where they've started so far. Everybody's either gone up or lost a couple of positions from where they have started so far. And that's what you want to see, right? You want to see the competition definitely develop further into these green flag runs, as Jay Hone pushes a bit more wide, and that allows Regney to open up the door on the bottom side, dicing through the dogleg, but that only costs him a boatload of time. And Jay Hone able to hold on around the outside of 1 and 2 for the time being, with 9.5 laps left to go in this opening stage. But you gotta wonder if Paul Regney is gonna have to go through. We're still gonna see Regney trying to work his way up on Jay Hone. I know a couple of other drivers having to experience a bit of a slippery track surface out there. You can see Kenny Powell losing out on the battle for 3rd place with Chris Johnson. Had a bit of a slip up, and I believe that was 3 and 4 that allowed Johnson through. And see Adamson definitely looking to capitalize on the Monster Energy 36, looking high, looking low, wherever he can on Kenny Powell here, hoping that maybe he can find a way past. He's got a few more laps here. He could come away with a 4th place, which obviously that gives him an extra very crucial half a point throughout the remainder here of this opening stage. Powell able to kind of get the hammer down a bit more this time around and pull away from the runs that you can carry around these outside lines. Diving it off that corner nice through 3 and 4, pushing up to that outside wall. And I'm going to keep one eye still on the battle for 7th and 8th, which gets set to potentially pick on up. You've got these 2 different interesting dynamics you have to look out for. You got, of course, 4th and 5th, and then you got Jay Hone and Regney in their battle for 7th and 8th that you got to always keep an eye on as well, because it's only going to take one little slip somewhere on course for these drivers to have to find their way slipping further and further down the order at the moment. And you can see Hone having a bit more of a slip up this time. Whoa, breaking sideways, power sliding that out of turn 4, and that allows Regney to get the run around the outside line. He'll take that one around the outside of the dogleg. Count Paul Regney up now into P number 7, and none too soon. Just 6 laps to go in this opening stage, and that puts Regney up 1, and Hone slips back another. Not good news for Jay Hone, who might have to settle for an 8th place finish so far. Frank Flores has gone down 1 lap so far in this race. He will be your lucky dog driver when you get around to that stage 1 caution and coming to 4 laps time. Steve Powell bobbling again just at the tail end of the shot. allowing Gary Adamson to close a little bit, but so far not enough for the 36 car to mount a proper charge up on the 24. Adamson's got to hope that Powell makes a couple of more very crucial mistakes here before he's going to be able to properly work his way up to the front of this thing. You can see Flores moving well out of the way to start letting lead lap traffic through. In fact, so much he puts himself into the outside wall of turn 2. And Powell looks to put down Frank Flores one more spot on that lap down marker. And that's one and done, so Powell no longer has to worry about lap traffic. Now, can Gary Adamson get through just as easily? It'll be a very easy pass for Gary Adamson to make up on Frank Flores, who continues to stay high, wide, and well out of the way of the guys up in front. Meanwhile, pit road closes this time by with 2 laps to go here in this opening stage. And for Chris Severa, he has just been able to really stretch his legs. He made that pass up on Adrian Watts, and he has just walked away with it since then. Severa showing that he is going to be the driver to beat today. I mean, you take a look at the gap. Just about 15 laps ago, they were right nose to tail with each other. Now 4 seconds between Severa and Adrian Watts as he starts his final trip around here at the Phoenix Raceway. If Severa can continue to put on performances like this one, he will very, very easily be able to work his way up into the top grouping of this race. So Chris Severa going to be coming around through turns 3 and 4. He will win the opening stage here at the Advanced Auto Parts 156, the Ironton Stock Car Association Tucson Sound Art Cup Series here from Phoenix Raceway. Adrian Watts will pick up a solid second place with Johnson third, Powell fourth. Right behind him comes Gary Adamson for 6th place. Flores 1 lap down, still in 9th. O'Connor going to be picking up 6th place with Regni in 7th. Jay Honan 8th, and of course that'll be rounding out the rest of the field throughout the first stage so far. So, caution flag comes out for the first competition yellow on the day. We'll take a quick step away, and we'll be back with stage 2 in just a few moments.
Get the part you need from the comfort of your garage. Order online or via our mobile app with Advanced Same Day. Get same day pickup, same day curbside, or same day delivery. Advance your auto. Advance Auto Parts.
Pit stops underway. Chris Severa was your stage 1 winner. He is currently taking the field down. We'll see if he will also be able to lead them off. Everyone appears to get into their pit stalls fine and dandy. 4 tires and fuel. No surprise from guys like Chris Severa. But it'll be Chris Johnson to win the race off pit road. And Severa, with a long stop, going to be well down in 5th place. So a bad stop there for Chris Severa will put him on the back foot. So let's see if we can't potentially dial up here your stage 1 winner on the night. Chris Severa joins us up here in the commentary box. And Chris, what a run for you. 7th place on the grid, and you go out to dominate stage 1 with a 4-second gap at about 12 laps. How'd you do it?
Here at this track, it's all throttle management coming off the corners. You got to really fall off is huge the first 10 laps, so you got to really conserve your stuff early in order to have anything in the long run. So luckily enough, we were able to do that. Clean air is huge, so once we got that, we were able to just drive away.
Do you plan on potentially going on out there to get a second stage? It made it happen from 7th place over in stage 1. You start 5th in stage 2, so I'd say it's possible.
Yeah, we tapped the wall a couple of times, so we just might as well get that fixed in stage 2 rather than wait for it to, hurt us more in stage 3. So, like I said, we're just going to play our stuff safe in this early run, and we'll get back up there.
I would expect nothing less, especially with such a strong performance despite that damage over in that opening stage. And, well, Chris, it's been a pleasure having you up here in the booth so far today. You're 2 to green, I believe, at the moment. So before I let you go here, anybody you'd like to shout out for that number 62 machine?
Just everybody in GEG help get this car together. You guys, ISCA, knowing you guys do a great job broadcasting. Rob doing all the stuff behind the scenes. Really appreciate all of you.
And thank you, Chris, for taking the time out of your night to come up here and join us in the booth. Congrats on a Stage 1 win. Best of luck in Stage 2.
Thanks, guys.
That was Chris Severa, the Gas and Go driver, logging a Stage 1 victory, getting set to do it again in Stage number 2. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Advanced Auto Parts 156 here from the Phoenix Raceway. We get set to go racing here for Stage number 2. Adrian Watts is first, Johnson second, Powell third, Adamson fourth with Chris Severa in fifth, Paul Regni in sixth, O'Connor seventh, Flores down in eighth with surprisingly Jay Hone now a lap down in ninth place, and Jay Hone in pit road at the moment. So this is bad news here for Jay Hone, who is down to the pit road with some extensive damage on his PPG-4 Mustang. We'll see if that's going to hinder him at all. So still one driver, that one lap down. Pace car is down to pit road. But of course, it is going to be a long way around before we get set to lock this race away here in Stage number 2. They round through 3 and 4. We enter into the restart zone. And we are back racing here from Phoenix. Great getaway from Adrian Watts. Look at Kenny Powell deep on the inside, pushing up towards Gary Adamson in the mad sprint down to turn number 1. Severa on the inside now, the 36 car. Both drivers gravitating towards each other to make contact. Adamson gets pushed down wide. Here comes Chris Johnson, trying to mount the charge for the race lead down the inside of Adrian Watts in turns 3 and 4. And Chris Johnson going to take the race lead away from Adrian Watts at the exit of turn number 4 and the sprint down towards turn number 1. Powell picks up third, Severa fourth, Adamson down in fifth already. And folks, expect to see Chris Severa rapidly working his way out through the order past his G&G teammates. He wants to get that lead back, and you heard it there. He's going to play it a bit more conservative, wait for guys up in front of him, potentially burn their stuff up early on here. I wonder if there might be some team play going on here, though, with, of course, Kenny Powell. I imagine Powell would want to do everything to make sure that G&G can come out of this race with the best result possible. But looking to potentially duke it out here with Chris Severa for the time being for that third place. Powell washing a bit wider off the track as Severa tries to close on up in that number 62. But it is so far just nothing doing. Kenny Powell trying to find some speed from the bottom, but you just saw how much Severa closed up there, nearly ran over his G&G teammate of Powell. It's those little moments between teammates where you kind of have to hold your breath a little bit because it would take not a whole lot in order for, something to all go awry. Severa trying to, and Powell into the wall, hang on to it, Kenny Powell losing out on third place. Powell having to really work that car to keep it pointed the right direction, but did a solid job so far in the number 24. you ride on board from Chris Johnson, who still leads from Adrian Watts down to the turn number 1. Watson, the JBR machine, has been doing a good job so far as the lone Chevy in this field. Well, 1 of 2 Chevys. 4 is also running the Chevy deeper at the tail end of the lead lap. You see all the top 5 under a blanket here. Chris Johnson, he is working kind of the middle line at the moment, trying to just keep Adrian Watts at bay. I think trying to... Whoa! Here's the dive from Chris Severa. That is a lunge and a half for the 62 machine. And he'll start to push up a little bit wider up into Adrian Watts, who looks to potentially fend him off. Chris Johnson going defensive to make sure that Adrian Watts can't get a good drive. Severa, though, done waiting around, and with that aggressive look to the inside line, he'll be up ahead by just a nose down into turn 1. But look at Watts with all the speed from the outside line, able to just pull around from the outside groove and get a run down this back straightaway. You can see Kenny Powell also waiting in the wings here, potentially looking to capitalize on the 24 car to maybe get him a spot. But the 08 is going to drop in line as Chris Severa makes his move up into second place, and Watts opts not to fight back. That opens the door for Kenny Powell now to find his way down the inside of Adrian Watts. 100 laps remaining now as Powell pushes up out of the tri-oval up into turn 1. But once again, watch the outside line from Adrian Watts. Oh, and it's another loose moment for Kenny Powell that sends the 24 car scrambling way to the apron. And now that's going to put Kenny Powell under 5 for Gary Adamson here, who's looking to work his way up further into in the top 5. This time, Adamson will find the bottom side of Kenny Powell through 1 and 2. But I don't think able to get that run down the back straightaway. It's just not going to happen from the bottom side. Try as you will. If you're going to make that work, you're going to have to go for an almighty lunge and really hope your opponent backs out a little bit from the top. They'll kind of let you have it. This is going to be a bit of an interesting situation, right? You see Adamson continuously look down the inside of Kenny Powell, but he's just never going to be able to get close enough to be able to make a proper dive for the position. But at the same time, we're also going to battle for the race team, potentially developing up in front with Chris Johnson and for Severa. Look to potentially start going at it. Severa's really closed in the gap to his G&G teammate of Chris Johnson just up the road. And this time with the send up the inside, trying to go for the race lead. Johnson forced to kind of back out from the outside line, but he will have the upper hand on corner entry, able to break later and take the optimal line. How about that for a dive up the inside of 1 and 2? Severa definitely hungry for it. Tried to pull the slider on Chris Johnson. Didn't work out for him. Maybe for 3. It's a higher bank corner and a shallower radius. Oh, gonna push up. Nearly gets into the door of Chris Johnson. And this time, Severa makes his way back to the points up in front. Adrian Watts, he saw fancy to look, but opted not to go for it. Makes Severa +1 back up into the race lead here on the 63rd lap of this race, with Watts just waiting in the wings. Still got your top three all under a blanket here. You're right on board with the 48 car Johnson, with Severa just up the road trying to keep him at bay. Chris Severa has not been able to stretch out that lead so far, but Severa really good at saving his equipment, so we can expect to see him work his way up there before too long. We've also got Watts trying to throw his hat into the ring. Don't discount the battle for fourth as well, with Kenny Powell and Gary Adamson, which is just behind this top grouping here at the moment. That's been steadily getting closer and closer over these last couple of laps. And now that these guys have settled into their own little gap here, we can expect to see this grouping start to kind of space out here as this race goes along. Which is certainly not the most uncommon of sights to see a more sort of processional race, especially in the real world, as we've seen here time and time again. But this new configuration so far in the Thursday race has been anything to be known by. It has proved to be an excellent track for some quality competitive racing. We've been seeing that so far here tonight. I mean, we're now about 20 laps or so into the stage, about halfway through, and guys, look at how far out everybody is in front. I mean, we're under 20 to go in stage one, and you see the top five have somewhat broken away from everybody behind, but all things considered, that is still a relatively small gap up between your top group, especially fourth and fifth, which is still the gap that I'm kind of keeping one eye on. That's the one that seems to be fluctuating the most out of all these guys. There's a couple of laps where Addison has been quicker by a few hundredths. There's been a couple of laps where Powell's been quicker by a few hundredths. And there's kind of ebbing and flowing, switching back and forth between these two drivers as equipment starts to fall away from them. You look over at the point standings going into this race, and the way it's set, it's Chris Johnson is definitely set to potentially extend his gap at the points lead. It's currently 44.5. Back to Kenny Powell, who runs in second place. Frank Flores, though, still up in a solid third place so far in the point standings, even though he runs all the way back in eighth for the time being, and is going to go one lap down at this rate before the stage is over. A total of 23 drivers so far have been marked as drivers that have made starts overall throughout this race. And I have to say, it's been a pretty decent run for a majority of the drivers that have opted to kind of make these little runs throughout this series so far. And how many times have we seen, guys just be that much more better than other guys? But the series overall, this Saturday night Tucson Sounder Cup Series has been, in a way, more competitive than the Buckner Cup Series that we see on your typical Thursday nights. I mean, the racing we've seen in this series has been absolutely phenomenal, despite having some smaller grids. And I think that it cannot be underestimated just how competitive this field actually is. Top three starting to kind of pull away from each other. Meanwhile, Adamson still has Kenny Powell in his sights, not letting that 24 car get away whatsoever. That time by Powell a bit offline on corner entry. That allows Addison to close in the gap a little bit more, but look at how Powell was able to take advantage of his own mistake. Got the hammer down early in the corner. Was able to kind of rip that top line all the way through. How about we ride on board with Gary Adamson for a couple of laps here as we watch to see how that 36 car tries to run down Powell. Adrian Watts still has yet to close on up to Chris Johnson, and Severa continues to stretch his legs, but the gap he has been able to build out has not been nearly as much as it was at the end of stage number 1. But you look back at the battle for fourth between Adamson and Powell, and you saw it on board from Adamson those few laps. It has not gone away. And in fact, Adamson's only been getting a bit more aggressive on entry to these corners, trying to close up to Kenny Powell, but that has not necessarily been helping out Adamson. It's only been hurting him in the long run because he ends up costing himself on exit speed. Obviously, at a track like Phoenix, that's where it counts. You see, neither driver kind of wanting to get too low down towards that yellow line. Both of them are wanting to kind of work their way further up towards the middle groove where you can see things kind of taking shape for this outside group, as you saw Adrian Watts putting Flores down a lap. 3 laps to go here in stage number 2. And this time by, pit road is closed to the field with 2 laps to go here on stage number 2. How about Adrian Watts really slow out of turn number 4? Might have had a bit of a slide for the 08 car. That puts him under fire from Kenny Powell, but Flores in the way of the 24 car. That's going to be bad news for Kenny Powell here, as Frank Flores is going to move up top and allow Powell and Addison through on the bottom. They're entering the final lap of this stage. Powell might be in trouble. Sideways. Here comes Adamson looking to take the outside on the last lap of stage 2. Powell comes up, nearly doors Addison into the wall, but hangs it down on the bottom. Adamson ripping the top line, trying to find some speed through. Severa will come around 3 and 4. He'll win the second stage of the Advanced Auto Parts 156 at Phoenix, but here's the battle for 4th and 5th. Adamson breaks later, outbreaks himself. Here comes Powell trying to fight back, and Kenny Powell will manage to somehow hang on to a 4th place in stage number 2. What an excellent drive from Kenny Powell to manage to hang on. Made a mistake and able to take it back in the final corner on stage 2. So caution flag out once again. We'll take another quick step back, and we'll be back with you here in stage 3.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
Back live for stage number 3 and calamity on pit road as Kenny Powell made contact with Adrian Watts, causing him to miss his box. Had to back it up and in, so unfortunate for Kenny Powell as he finds himself now well down the field here in this one in stage number 3. You see Chris Johnson leading up there out in front, so why don't we see if we can maybe dial up your stage 2 runner-up here And we'll get a talk with Chris Johnson in that GNG number 48. Chris Johnson, you finished this stage out in second place. Do you think you have anything for Chris Severa up in front with you started in the lead?
Well, we'll give it a shot. I don't know if I'll have anything for good old Chris, but I'm going to give it my all. We'll see what happens.
And obviously, 66 laps left to go, roughly, when you take the green flag, but 59 laps on the fuel tanks. Do you reckon if a caution comes out at one point or another throughout the stage, you might be able to stretch it to the end? We saw a couple of guys trying that on Thursday. We'll see.
Definitely, if I'm going to get Chris, it's going to be on the pit stop, so we'll see what happens. If we get a caution, you know, that'll probably throw away my hopes.
Well, in that case, fingers crossed that this third and final stage goes green. You end up getting those green flag pit stops that you seem to need for this strategy of yours to play on them out. Well, before I let you go here, Chris, anybody you'd like to shout out for that GNG 48?
Southern Spiral Pipe, Brian, Chris, Kenny, of course yourself, Rob, you know, ISCA, and of course our setup builders over here in GNG, making us getting us throughout the get us through these races.
And thank you, Chris, for taking the time to coming up here and join us in the broadcast booth. Congrats on the stage 2 runner-up, and best of luck in the race so far.
Thank you, sir.
So that was Chris Severa in the GNG number 48. Chris Severa going to be looking to potentially win this race out. He'll be starting inside. Chris Johnson taking the top line as Severa will start second. .66 laps to go when we take that green flag. Pace car down and then all the way back in turn number 2. The field still holding strong. And now Chris Johnson launches. And it is a beautiful launch with the 48 car on the outside line. Truly clear from Chris Severa through this dog leg and up into turn number 1. Look out for Adrian Watts. Trying to pull around Joshua O'Connor, but O'Connor's been a strong fighter from that top line. And he'll look to potentially put Adrian Watts down into 5th place. Battle of the late breakers. Adrian Watts wins it down into turn number 1, but here comes O'Connor pulling the top side, but not able to get the hammer down in time. He hits the wall behind them. Ready to glance off the wall, allows Powell up in position. And already Severa has caught Chris Johnson. And the number 48 car going to be under fire from his GNG teammate Chris Severa down in second place. Here comes Severa up the inside. And so goes through. The contact is made. Johnson gets forced up wide. Here comes Addison with a run, and Severa takes the lead. Gary Adamson going to make the charge up into turn number 3. Johnson looking to get the crossover, the over-under, but that's not going to go anywhere. So Johnson loses 2 spots in 1 lap, courtesy of a little hip check from Chris Severa, his GNG teammate. Look at Chris Johnson, though, trying to fight back from Gary Addison, but it's just not going anywhere so far for that 48 car. He's trying to see if he can get a drive up on Gary Addison through the center of these corners to get some speed down the backstretch. But he has really got to get a fantastic middle corner for that to happen, and so far, that has not been happening for the 48 car. Adrian Watts, though, has been steadily reeling him in the JVR 08. And this time, Watts down the inside. But not close enough to make it stick. O'Connor getting a bit friendly with that outside turn 2 wall down the back straightaway. Didn't quite glance it, but got within a millimeter of it. Here at Phoenix, you have really got to use every single bit of the track that you possibly can. And O'Connor has taken that to almost an extreme. You see O'Connor now, though, starting to fade a little bit backwards behind this main grouping, and Severa started to pull away a bit up in front, which means we could be in for a bit of a 3-horse race here for second place between Adamson, Johnson, and Watts. One mistake for Gary Anderson, and Chris Johnson's going to be all over him. You can already see the 48 car trying to apply some pressure here to the 36. Wide out of 3 and 4 is Adamson. Here comes Chris Johnson right up to the back end of the Monster Energy number 36 Ford Mustang. However, we've seen it before. You really have to go for almighty lunges to get passes done. But as Adamson pushes wide, that lets Johnson up the inside. Thought about it. Opted against it at the last second. Johnson completes the pass in 3 and 4. Finally found his way up the inside of Gary Adamson. Does this let Adrian Watts into the fray? Chris Johnson through and clear. Watts thinking about it. Tried it. But no momentum out of 2. So how about for 3? This is where Adrian Watts has consistently been a better driver than Gary Adamson. His turns 3 and 4. And it is usually the runs he can get out of turn 4 that allows him to go for these brilliant overtakes up into turn 1. You see Gary Addison starting to weeble wobble a little bit. Oh, there's another mistake. Late break for the 36 car. Adrian Watts sends it up the inside, trying to take away 3rd. Watch out for Gary Adamson as here comes Adrian Watts. Can he clear? Not quite. Adamson still there in the battle for 3rd. And finally clears out of turn number 4. Now you can look back to the battle with Joshua O'Connor. Checks up Kenny Powell. And Kenny Powell definitely got into the 59 car as O'Connor cut across Kenny Powell. He kind of checked up the 24. The contact didn't unsettle O'Connor too badly, though. He is still settled going into turn 3 and trying to get a run on Adamson. This time, Powell down the inside of O'Connor. Sent one up into turn 1. But it will still be O'Connor to clear on exit. So 50 laps left now. And now we can start to see the pit strategy potentially coming on into the mix. Estimated 59 laps, the fuel window. And that could be where it becomes a very crucial factor here throughout this race. Kenny Powell still wants to get the run. This time will be on the outside line and overtakes O'Connor around the outside of turn 1 and already cleared before he even gets to 2. That shows just how quick Kenny Powell was. He just couldn't get the momentum from the inside. As soon as he had the outside line, though, he was gone. So with that said and done, let's turn our attention further up the grid to the battle for actually the lead now, as Chris Severa has lost a bit of time back to Chris Johnson and Adrian Watts, which has, of course, understandably put that 62 Ford Mustang under fire. Chris Johnson trying to also fend off Adrian Watts just behind, so not necessarily able to focus per se on making up a run on Chris Severa. Watts pulls the outside, but not able to get a run just yet. Should he maybe think about the bottom? Oh, gonna go for it. Oh, gave the bumper almost to Chris Johnson. That scared Johnson up wide. Here comes Watts, mid-corner speed. But Watts gonna have to bail out. Oh, that mess. 1 lap to go in turn 1 kind of means Adrian Watts loses out a little bit of extra time. Chris Johnson going to have to see if he can reset and potentially chase down Chris Severa again. Did such a good job on running down the 62. But the big lunge from Adrian Watts meant he had to just back out so he could avoid being run over. Just behind, you see Gary Adamson, losing some time back to Kenny Powell. And Powell looking to potentially find the inside of Adamson in 4th place, down through the dogleg on lap 113. Has the inside line. Adamson trying to pinch Powell in. Nothing doing, though. Powell decided to hang tough with it and try to force Adamson out from the outside line, but Adamson was just able to carry the momentum, but runs too wide through 3 and 4. That lets Powell back up the inside, but a loose moment from Powell. Sees him lose time. Here comes O'Connor. Thought about the middle, but Adamson pulls around from the outside line, and that kind of puts Powell back to square one. It's only a matter of time for Adamson loses that spot to Kenny Powell. Pushed too wide out of 4, had to back out. That gives Kenny Powell the spot coming into turn number 1. No contest about it. Kenny Powell able to potentially work the outside line. Just got to push up and clear before Adamson can get the hammer down from the outside, and he'll do so. Adamson slips back to 5th. And now it's to worry about Joshua O'Connor, who's going to be charging for a top 5 finish just behind him. Right on board with O'Connor into the 59 car. As Adamson trying to look to get the spot back from Powell in 4th. Not going to happen, though, this time round. And up in front, Chris Severa, the first car to come down to pit road, the number 62, into pit lane for green flag pit stops on lap 117. That gives the race lead up to Chris Johnson. As green flag stops get set to come underway. Chris Johnson was saying he was hoping to gap Severa in the pit stops, but with Severa coming down first, I don't think that's going to quite happen here. But Johnson going to stay out and potentially see what he can do to hold on to the spot. Gary Adamson comes in from 4th place. Paul Regney is in from 6th. So that leaves Johnson, Watts, Powell, and O'Connor out on course as Jay Holm comes in, but he's 11 laps down. Frank Flores also down to the lane from the lead lap. And now Chris Johnson opts to come down with Adrian Watts staying out. So Chris Johnson, you see in pit road with other cars still making their service up in front of him. Kenny Powell has come down this time by for service on the box as Adrian Watts continues to stay out. Same story with Joshua O'Connor. Now, where does Johnson come out in relation to Chris Severa? It's going to be the big ticket question here at the moment. Severa coming around through turn number 2. Chris Johnson in pit lane still sitting and waiting. You can see Severa coming around through 3 and 4 now. And just now, Chris Johnson leaves, but it's not in time. Chris Severa will retake the net race lead up in front. Adrian Watts is now in for his service. He's the second to last driver to come down this time round. We're only expecting now Joshua O'Connor to come down to pit road. If he's ever going to come down, it would have to be now. Chris Johnson is right behind him. But O'Connor going to opt to stay out here a little bit longer. Might be looking to stretch the tank dry and go for a splash and dash. And theoretically, that is a strategy that could potentially play out for O'Connor if, this is a really big if he is able to push around and maintain the gap big enough that he can come down to pit road safely and still be able to only take a fuel-only stop. Running lap 125, O'Connor still the only driver to come down pit road. And this is a bit of an interesting call that O'Connor has continued to stay out as long as he has here. Adamson looking to unlap himself from Joshua O'Connor. And Adams will send that one down the inside line. O'Connor going to have now 3 cars on the lead lap, including himself. The problem is, even if he tries to stretch this one out and make it a fuel-only stop, it's still not going to be enough to get him a win because Chris Severa is only 15 seconds behind him. So far, pit road delta has been about 47 seconds. There's no way that O'Connor is going to be able to stay out there and make this strategy work for a fuel only on the splash and dash. It's not going to happen. Currently throughout the field, you got Joshua O'Connor leading this race. Chris Severa sits in second place, 12.3 seconds back. Adamson about another 15 seconds back from there. Kenny Powell's the first car lap down, but he's about to unlap himself right about now. Adrian Watts will be next down in 5th. They're in a battle for 4th and 5th place. As the two closest cars on track with 6 tenths separating them. Chris Johnson's back in 7th place. Frank Flores is 2 down in 8th. Jay Hone 12 down, back in 9th. You see O'Connor and that's Frank Flores unlapping himself, which would only put him 1 down when O'Connor eventually comes down pit road. 5 cars total now are on the lead lap. Only Red and Chris Johnson are the net lead lap cars when O'Connor would come down pit road. There is now only 24 laps remaining in this race, so Joshua O'Connor was going to come down with the rest of the guys. That ship has long since sailed. It's a baffling strategy, to be completely honest. I'm not sure why O'Connor has stayed out as long as he has. Assuming he's only in his box about 5 seconds or so, that would still put him almost now a lap down to Chris Severa, who is getting set to potentially retake the race lead. He can actually see O'Connor just a little ways behind him now. This is not good news, so to speak, for Joshua O'Connor, who was looking to have a solid outing tonight, and he was fighting for a top 5 spot, but that's not the case anymore. Now he's just going to be fighting to struggle to stay on the lead lap. This time, Adrian Watts almost found the inside of Kenny Powell through turns 1 and 2. Trying again in 3 and 4. Sorry for the minor technical difficulties, but Adrian Watts going to pull around and try to secure what will be a third place spot, with O'Connor having completed his pit stop and down to 5th now. And this time, Adrian Watts is through up to 3rd. Powell trying to get the drive off. Looking back for the inside. Powell's going to fight back with the switcheroo down to the inside of 3. Oh, but that's the back outer. He would have clipped Adrian Watts on exit. Meanwhile, Jay Hone is back down the pit road. Interesting call for him to make a second trip down the pit road under this bout of green flag runs. Watts closing in on Gary Addison. Addison clipped the wall down the back straightaway. That unsettled him for 3. And Watts going to power down the inside through the dogleg. Going to try to dive bomb him up here into the turn 1. And that should be job done for Adrian Watts. Put him back up now into 2nd. Although Adamson looks to continue this fight from the outside. As Addison washes wide through 3 and 4. Here comes Powell back to the inside. The 24 G&G driver going to look to maybe gain up another position and put himself back up onto the podium. This would be great news here for Powell to get himself on the podium. Addison tried for the undercut, but it didn't work, and Adamson finds the wall out of 2. And I think that's about it for Gary Addison and his charge to try to mount a podium finish today. There's now just 10 laps remaining in this race. Despite Kenny Powell having that 3rd place, that's not stopping Gary Adamson from trying to throw one down the inside. He is trying to mount a serious charge on the G&G Toyota Camry. Sometimes you just need to have a guy that you can follow closely. You'll be able to pick up a lot of speed. I know I'm one of those drivers that do a heck of a lot better when I have people to follow. Looks like it's a similar case here for Gary Adamson, who is definitely looking to mount a charge. You can see him, though, really working that wheel left and right, both down the straightaways as well as in the corners. Looks like almost struggling to keep that Monster Energy 36 Mustang underneath him. I think that last time, though, kind of did him in. I mean, he lost so much time. We're talking 3/10 up to Kenny Powell, and obviously that's not necessarily what you want to do if you're trying to go for a position. And with just 7 laps remaining, I don't think he's going to be close enough to try to get him back. He is still consistently slower by a couple of tenths a lap. Oh, and found the inside wall that time by. You saw him brake sideways out of turn number 2. And just slapped the inside wall. Didn't even hit the outside wall, but it was a pretty significant impact. So if his hopes for a podium weren't dashed already, they were certainly dashed with that smack to the inside. So with 4 laps to go this time by, a look up front to one Chris Severa. Started 7th place after not setting the qualifying lap. Won stage 1. Dropped back to 5th under the caution period. Got into the lead again to win stage 2. Started inside of Chris Johnson on the stage 3 restart. Took the lead early. And has just run away with it with a gap of half a lap over Adrian Watts. To put it in perspective of how much that is, Chris Severa just now crossed start finish. Adrian Watts just exited turn 2. Two and a half laps remaining from the Advanced Auto Parts 156 at Phoenix. How about Adrian Watts? A driver who was looking strong, started on pole earlier today. Hasn't gone his way, though. He was doing such a good job trying to get the lead early on. But at the end of the day, Chris Severa, he made it count. 1 lap to go now for the 62 Gas and Go machine. Severa pushing real wide through 1 and 2, but he does not have anything to worry about. Coming around 3 and 4 for the final time today. Chris Severa gonna take race victory here from the Phoenix Raceway. He wins the Advanced Auto Parts 156. And all the way in behind, this is your second place finisher, Adrian Watts. That is the gap between the two of them. Insurmountable, to say the very least. Chris Severa, just pure domination in this one. So with all the cars across the line, let's take a look at your official post-race results. Chris Severa, race winner at the end of 156 laps with Adrian Watts down in second place by 13.6 seconds. Kenny Powell is down in third with Gary Addison in fourth, with Paul Regney in fifth. Joshua O'Connor sits in 6th place with Chris Johnson 7th. Frank Flores 2 laps down in 8th with Jay Hone, a lonely 9th place. So with all this said and done, let's take a quick step away. We'll be back with the post-race show in just a few moments.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Your art never sounded so good.
And welcome back here to the Post Race Show, the Advanced Auto Parts 156 with the Tucson Sound Art Cup Series. What a dominating drive from Chris Severa. The season finished 13.6 seconds to the good. And standing by now with your race winner, Chris Severa. And honestly, Chris, there is no other way to put this. Absolutely smashed the field today.
Yeah, I mean, I was glad I was able to even come out in the first place. With other leagues, ending, I only get about 2 days to race. It was not only to come out, but to race with the guys who are, all out here to go that long and not have anyone, self-spin like you would in like an A Open or any other league I've been a part of. It's just great to be here in the first place.
So when you went into the pit stop window, you were obviously very, very close with guys like Chris Johnson and Adrian Watts. What do you think was it that made you come out a whopping almost half a lap in front and able to maintain that gap through the rest of the race? Because I was floored when I saw that.
Yeah, so when we came in, we only took 2 tires, and we were really close on fuel. The initial strategy on that third stage was to see if we could save 10 laps, which I would have had to lift it off where the 5 cone was. And by that time, we were running like high 27 lap times, so it just would not have been worth it. So I tried to push there a little towards the end and get a little bit of a gap. And we only came in, we took only the fuel we needed and 2 tires, and that's probably what made up that split there.
And of course, the next week up, I believe, is the Homestead Miami Speedway you're going to in just 1 week's time. What's your take on the 1.5 miles?
With that package, it's all just about clean air, running where you can, and just, again, making the tires last is the biggest thing. But it's not my best 1.5 miles, so we'll see what we can do when we get there. I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
Well, despite clean air definitely being a necessity, you find yourself up in front. I have a feeling you're going to be having all the clean air you could possibly hope for at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Well, Chris, it has been a pleasure having you up here in the booth with us. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out for your number 62 G&G Ford Mustang?
Again, just everybody at Gas and Go. Kenny for putting this on. Everybody behind the scenes at ISCA. And Rob, all you guys, just really appreciate you.
Thank you, Chris, for taking the time to come out up here and join us in the booth. Congratulations on a race win along with both stage wins here from Phoenix, and best of luck next week in Miami.
Thank you, guys.
That leads us down to Adrian Watts, who had to mount a bit of a charge for himself at the later going. You found yourself kind of on the back foot on the exit of the pit window, Adrian, but fighting out through the field, you still find yourself second at the end of the night.
Yeah, I kind of messed up that strategy. I know my car was really good on short run, so I was kind of hoping to stay out and maybe be able to. I knew I wasn't going to be able to hang with Chris if we had to go for a long time, so I was trying to stay out, but it didn't work.
Didn't quite work out for you today. And when you take a look over at the race overall, I mean, obviously it's a brand new scan of Phoenix, and some people have some mixed opinions on it, some like it, some not so much. Where does it lie for you, though?
I'm kind of torn a little bit. I mean, like the old track, it had a lot more grip coming off, but it took me 2 stages to figure out how to drive off the corner. But I think it's a pretty good track.
Pretty good track, and I have a feeling that a lot of people would certainly agree with you on that one. It seems to be one where people enjoy this type of track more so compared to the 1.5 miles as we're going to next week. Now, of course, Homestead Miami, very, very unique in the terms of it's probably one of the only pure oval, so to speak, not a quad oval or a D oval. Also, of course, has that progressive banking on it. We heard clean air might be a very crucial factor in next week's race. Where does it lie for you?
Well, Homestead's always been one of my favorites, so I'm hoping to set my car up really good and get another podium, if not a win.
A podium or a win? I think the win is definitely more on the cards for you, for sure. You're going to be looking, I imagine, to potentially take a race win away, especially after Chris Severa. kind of potentially left the field wanting one tonight. So thank you, Adrian, for taking the time to join us up here in the booth. Before we let you go, who helps you to be fast in that JBR Chevrolet?
Like to give a shout out to Ryko. These setups are always awesome. Our team uses them, and they never let us down. And you guys in here in this awesome league, thank y'all.
And thank you for taking the time to join us up here in the booth tonight, Adrian. Congratulations on a second place finish, and best of luck next week in Homestead, Miami.
Thank you.
And that just leaves our third and final driver on the podium tonight. Kenny Powell joins us up here in the broadcast booth. And Kenny, I tell you what, you were kind of looking like you might be in for a bit of a rough ride, but you had one heck of a battle with Gary Adamson to pull out third.
Yeah, I had an up and down night, that's for sure. I was waiting to get to the third stage because I knew I had a longer run car, and I knew Chris. I didn't think I was going to be able to catch him. He was going to run away. But I was looking forward to the fight with Adrian and Gary and Chris Johnson if he hadn't had some pit road issues. But yeah, I came in a couple of laps after Severa and just knew I had the longer run car that I really felt like I could catch Gary. I knew I'd come out in front of Adrian. I thought I was going to be able to hold Adrian off, but he caught me right at the same time I caught Gary, and he just got the better of me during that battle.
And of course, with this reskin of Phoenix, it is a lot more difficult, so to speak, to kind of work the bottom line than it was normal. I mean, you managed to make it work, but it took you several laps to do so. What do you think kind of is it that makes this track so much more top and middle line heavy nowadays?
Definitely the new scan, changes the lines that you can run at the track. The higher line, you can definitely get a good run off of. I'm all turned around now, just to which end of the track, but off of 1 or 3 and 4 now. But it's everybody goes there. Everybody's in the middle. So if you want to make the passes, you gotta figure out how to make the pass on that low side.
They certainly managed to make it work for you tonight. You pick up a third place result, and hopefully you'll be able to maintain another podium coming over into Homestead Miami Speedway in just 1 week's time. Before I let you go, Kenny, anybody you'd like to shout out for that G&G Toyota Camry?
Always my team, Gas and Go. Love all the guys that are with me. You and the broadcast crew, Rob at ISCA, everybody that helps me put on the ISCA. And I want to give a shout out to all the drivers in this league. I mentioned it earlier in the sim to those guys. This is a new league this year, or this season. But I swear some of the better racing is here on Saturday night compared to the Thursday night races. So, I'm proud of all those guys to hang in here with me, and we'll get this thing, the field expanded, and it's Saturday night's going to be a awesome night, just like Thursday is.
Just hoping you'll find yourself with a solid run as well, not just throughout the Homestead Miami Speedway, Candy, but what should be a thrilling final third or so of the season. Thanks for joining us up here tonight. Best of luck next week at Homestead.
Appreciate it.
That was Kenny Powell from the G&G crew, bringing it home in a third place finish, and that's going to round out our broadcast and our presentation here from the Advanced Auto Parts 156 with Ironton Stock Car Association Tucson Sound Art Cup Series at the Phoenix Raceway. Chris Severa wins the race in dominating fashion. We'll see if he can pull off the 2 for 2 in Homestead in 1 week's time.